Okay. I think I have this question too, but a lot of people probably do. What's
Okay.
your craziest story that you have to share when it comes to this rental game?
So I don't use my profile picture. I use just a profile picture of someone else who doesn't look like me.
Hmm.
And it's a nice young lady, young lady. She's our profile picture, and we've had some
No, that's
rather
nice
strange
marketing.
things. What?
That's nice marketing. I'm sure that's a heck of a lead generator.
Yeah, but sometimes you don't want these leads. So we had one dude, he booked with us. He didn't send us a picture of himself in a Speedo, said
Oh,
my new Speedo. I'm like, bro, what in the world? Bro, I've had some crazy stories, like so many crazy ones now. It's just like, what are you doing? So we had, of course, had to report his profile.
I know a lot of people when it comes to this rental game,
Mhm.
they're asking this question because they want to hop in, but there's a lot of ambiguity about it. So, like when you're looking to like acquire a property to either rent on Airbnb or VRBO, or maybe even do direct bookings, like you talked about before, like what's your overall process? How do you approach that?
It depends on how I'm looking at it. So, because I do two methods, right? I do rental arbitrage and then I own properties. So on the rental arbitrage side, I'm looking at rental arbitrage. I ain't gonna lie, I'm looking at 100% location, right?
Hmm.
Location, because I cater to, like in Dallas, for example, I cater to business travelers. Where's everyone moving to in the Dallas area? Far North Dallas.
That's me
They're
too.
moving up.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're moving up to the North Dallas area, Plano, Frisco, all in that area. That's where like people from out of town with the money, they're building houses, but they need somewhere to stay in between. So therefore, when I target areas, I'm targeting North Dallas, Plano, and I need to make sure that they have the amenities for them. So for example, I'm targeting business travelers. I'm making sure they have high-speed internet, a pool if they're traveling with families. Make sure they have like a dog park at the apartment complex that I'm working with. So
Mhm.
arbitrage is location, location, location. So I have more, and I have 5 in Dallas, and I have 5 more in Houston, and they're right by the medical center. Now Houston's a little saturated, so be
Yeah, I've
careful
heard.
with Houston. Very saturated, but a couple years back when it wasn't, it was a great location because it was in the med center. And the reason why Houston's saturated, of course, is because there's no regulations. Now, when I'm owning, it's a little bit different process because I use the burst strategy, right? So I need to first make sure it's a good deal. After I make sure it's a good deal, I need to make sure that I have a target avatar that's coming to that area. So in like Little Rock, where I do a lot of my burrs, I make sure that I could build the space out to cater to construction workers, because what happened was in Arkansas, and I learned this 3-4 years ago when I was hopped into that market. I learned that Arkansas outsources all their construction work to other states. So the people who live there the people who do the construction work there don't even live there, right? So they're
Right.
coming from Texas, Iowa, these small towns. And what they do is they'll work for like 8 months, then go back home for 4 months and not work for the rest of the year because they're getting paid so much. So I then catered my places to those people. And then in the off season, I make sure I can cater it to traveling nurses and then more business professionals. So I offer things like, and then what I do to attract those business professionals with families, what I do is I put things like Tesla chargers in there, because I know for a fact the Tesla charger is going to attract the 54-year-old male with kids, grandkids, and they're traveling. So it's just about
Mhm.
a matter of knowing your target avatar.
That's also something that's not going to be easily duplicated. Like, oh, I
Mhm.
added this as an amenity, but like the cat across the street can add it too. Like a Tesla charger.
Mhm.
I don't see a lot of people doing that anytime soon.
Yeah, it's a few, like, we really got into it last year off of a podcast we did with our guy Clint, and he was like really going into like, man, he was like, man, I got to really dive into what this city doesn't have, and then dive into that, and then provide that to the people coming. And that was a huge thing, and that lights went off in my head. I was like, oh, I got to find that, and that's how I came up with the Tesla charger.
Yeah, I think I remember listening to that episode. And for everyone that's wondering, we'll leave a link in the show notes to his podcast, Live Let Thrive. But there's a lot of awesome content over there. So you used a few words that obviously you and me are familiar with, but the audience may not know what that is, like rental arbitrage and like target avatar. Could you like break those down a little for those that don't know?
Okay, so rental arbitrage is basically I don't own the property. I rent it from a traditional landlord. He'll rent it to my business for a year, 2 years, 2 years preferably. And then I take the property, put it on Airbnb, Verbo, and then my own direct booking site, and like Chippa, which is Corporate Housing Providers of America, all the OTAs. And then I make whatever I pay the landlord his rent. I pay lights, water, gas. I pay the landlord his rent. Anything I make above that is mine to keep. So for example, when I look at a property, I want it to make me $1,000 more in cash flow net. So if it doesn't do that, then I'm probably going to be cutting that property. And that's what we're doing in Houston. That property is not worth my time. And then you said something else, target avatar. Target avatar is who you serve, right? So if you know you're near a hospital, let's say you pick up a two bed, one bath house, like in Arkansas, you get a house like that near the hospital, you can cater that to traveling nurses because they're coming in and out. The cost on those houses are usually cheaper, and usually nurses are looking for a cheaper accommodation. So it's just a matter of who you serve. That's your target avatar. Who do you want to cater to and book your place?
Cool. And in my experience, and you can tell me if you have this too, not only is it important to have a target avatar, it's also important to have an example of someone you don't want in there as far as the type of traveler. Because that kind of plays a role in the strategy you use. Because I don't tend to want 1 or 2 night stays because the higher risk of some party jumping off is just higher with those conditions. So I set my pricing so that if someone wants to book it, they're going to be coming out of the pocket. But if they book like 4 days and over, that's when the discounts start kicking in, and it attracts the type of person I want in there. So I think it plays a big role in you knowing who you don't want in there too. Would you say that?
For sure. What I do the same thing. Like if you're going to stay, I do a 2-night minimum on everything. So if you do stay 2 nights, you are going to pay a huge premium because you ain't going to get no discount. So I actually set my place up to where, anything 30 days out is a minimum of 4 nights. But if you stay 7 nights, you get a discount. If you stay 28 nights, you get another long stay discount. So you get a 10% for 7, a 20% for 28. So the people who are looking to book farther out, they ain't going to stay the 4 nights. It's inflated, right? They're like, I ain't going to stay no minimum of 4 nights. It's inflated. But the people who are looking to stay a week to 2 weeks, they're like, oh, I'll book this place. It looks like I'm getting a huge discount, or if you're staying a month, they get a huge discount. And then what that does, that actually cuts back on a lot of resources too. So you're actually getting you're not having to do as many turnovers. You're not having to go through as much supplies and things of that nature. So I love midterm corporate, long-term stays. I love those all day.
Yeah, because your operational expenses are just going to be lower because your housekeepers don't need to come in and clean the place as much. If you're doing these 3-night stays, a bunch per month versus you got 2 or 3 weeks people staying at a time.
Yeah. And another thing, and this is another tip that I've been starting to implement as well. If you're doing those midterm, long-term stays, every 3 months, what I would do is every quarter, hire a professional cleaning service to do a deep clean. Because a lot of times they don't report stuff to you. They don't report stuff that's going on. And then the cleaner, they'll report certain things, which is a good thing. You got to work on your communication with your cleaners. But if you get Molly Maid to go over there every quarter, man, they'll make your place spotless. They'll get it down clean, wiped out clean. So, and then you just let them know, hey, it's a move-in clean. So they'll get everything set up for you.
I'm gonna have to follow that advice because I do have someone staying in one of my apartments, and he's working on his his MBA for the summer, and he's gonna be getting out in mid-August, but he's been there for a little over 3 months. So that would be the perfect situation to do that.
What you do is go ahead and block your calendar now. Call Molly Maid, let your regular cleaner do her regular clean, and then let the Molly Maid crew come in the next day and go clean it, do the deep clean. Because they're going to get baseboards. They're going to get everything, the cabinets. They're going to wipe everything down, clean up your vents, all that dust, ceiling fans. And, you can get your regular cleaner to do that if that's what they do. But Molly Maid and other little professional cleaning services, man, they tackle it.
Sup everyone, y'all just watched a clip from one of the episodes of the Side Hustler Society podcast. If you want to check out the full episode, you can click on the link in the description right now or click on the video that's showing in the end screen. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new and hit that bell notification if you want to be notified when another episode drops, and a thumbs up on this video is very much appreciated. I'll catch you in the next one.